business. If you have a mobile phone, and today, who doesn't? Let's turn your mobile phone on something other than ring and be obnoxious. Let's put it outside. Let's turn it on vibrate. We know that many people in this room are very important and must take calls, and we understand that. If that happens to you during the meeting, all that we'd ask is the professional courtesy that you do, in fact, accept the call wherever you are, go outside to handle your business, and then come back in when you're done. That way, those who are in the class can continue. If you're going to be walking in front of the camera, we ask that you duck. Duck. Yeah, they spent a lot of money and had a lot of organization, and the dude up here in the front of the class isn't really happy when you block him from the camera. So let's make sure that we duck in front of the camera. All right, announcements. Some of these are duplicated from last Tuesday. Many of you are also here from last Tuesday, but we may have some new faces. Thank you for ducking in front of the camera. What? Oh, raise your hand if you were not here at Tuesday's meeting so we know who missed out. Okay, for those of you who have your hand in the air, especially important, some administrative kinds of things to cover. The kickoff clinic this year is after all of the other meetings. It is on Saturday, August the 18th, and it will be at University of Phoenix Stadium. Starts at 9 in the morning, check-in begins at 7:30. It'll last until shortly after lunch. Tomorrow is the final day to register with the AIA that will allow you to get a free lunch. So if you have not yet gone on the website or called Jeannie on the phone or whatever method you want to use personally, get a hold of Jeannie, let her know that you're planning to attend the kickoff meeting, and then you will get a free lunch that day. If you wait until Saturday or beyond, you're still welcome to attend the meeting. The lunch will not be included. Now, the other thing I want to mention here is if for any reason you cannot attend, we understand that people have lives and schedules and all that stuff. It's okay if you can't attend, but please make sure you communicate with the AIA office and be excused for the meeting in advance. Don't wait until the following Monday and say, oh, my dog ate my homework, or whatever other excuse you might dream up. Take care of it in advance and let them know that for whatever appropriate reason, you'll not be attending, and Jeannie's pretty good about giving you an excused, okay, permission not to attend. All right, today at 3 o'clock, I got an email from Jeannie, actually about 3:30, and it had the updated roster. If you were not here on Tuesday and don't yet have your books, go see Dave Formosa. He will check you in, and he has sets of books. If you were here on Tuesday and we had the unfortunate scenario that some of us weren't listed as having registered, we have the roster as of 3 o'clock Jeannie time, and I'm being told that everybody who has registered is recorded as registered. So if for any reason you go over there and Dave doesn't have your name on the list, hugely imperative that tomorrow, not next Monday, but tomorrow, you communicate with the AI office and say, WTF, okay? I want to work games. Yeah, I know some of you are thinking, what is that acronym? I'm not allowed to curse here, so it's on camera. You want to make sure that you get games. I can share with you that the assignment process has begun. Some number of games have already been entered into the computer, okay? They will be distributed in the not too distant future. If you're not registered, you're not going to be getting any of that first batch of assignments, okay? So if you like games, and that's kind of why we're all here, is we like games, handle your business. All right, now we're going to find Mr. Kerfman. We're going to ask him to come to the front of the room or wherever else he'd rather be instead and talk about elections, okay? John, take it away.
All right, with the elections, you know, this year I plan on maybe not so much voting for the Republican, but not, well, never mind, okay. The elections, we have two board positions that are coming open.
How to register if you have not got your fingerprint ID card.
At the end of this
We
year,
had some of those questions
so we're
last week.
taking nominations.
I'm going to say call Jeannie,
to replace those folks.
because I honestly don't have it memorized. So if you want to talk about that, I'll let you, but.
Terms expire are Rick Stillion and Ray Bird. So,
All they have to do is
no, you're not
just
going
put
to
their
give it to me
application
yet.
number rather than that rat.
However, yeah, that's rats. However, we are taking nominations. We will vote next Tuesday.
I can't hear him on the video.
There board members are looking to change the ones we have. Now, in order to do this, we hope to have some ballots for you.
Speak clearly, John.
No.
Be recorded.
Sorry, Bob. Be recorded. Okay. And so what I need to do is, we need to open the floor for nominations. If you'd like to nominate someone to assume one of the board positions, if you want to assume a board position yourself, you may self-nominate. However, now is the time. So, Mr. Henry.
I nominate Rick Stillion.
Rick Stillion is renominated then. He's presently serving. Okay, Steve?
I nominate me.
Steve Huddleston nominates himself. Where are we at? Warner Orr has been nominated by Jerry. Where's Mr. Orr? Well, you'll accept that if elected, right? Okay, very good. Mr. Nelson.
I'm going to nominate myself.
John Nelson nominates himself. Very good. Okay, anybody else around? Anybody else have somebody to nominate, or if you'd like to nominate yourself? Anybody have any questions about what we do? All right, don't go there. Actually, I've been very pleased to be able to serve. We put together things like this, although Bob is the instructor. Folks from the board do put these together. If that's it, then I'll close the nominations for now and give Bob back the microphone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Two hands. There you go. One hand. Two hands.
Thanks, sir.
You can tell that John hasn't had too many games on television. He was a little clumsy with the microphone. He does a nice job once it's turned on, but it's the administrative part of it. Okay, next administrative item. Before the season starts, and by the way, the first week of full schedule games is Friday, August the 24th. They're starting a little bit earlier than years past. So full schedule, Friday the 24th. That means scrimmages will occur mostly the week prior. Steve Johnson, who is a board member also, is in charge of coordinating and assigning the scrimmages. Steve has the list of most all of the scrimmages. If you go in front of the camera, please duck. Thank you very much. If you are a crew chief, or if your crew chief is for any reason incapacitated and unable to communicate with Steve Johnson personally, please have a crew member get a hold of Steve Johnson. If you have a preference, let them know. One of the things that's become slightly popular in the past few seasons is instead of having a head-up two-team scrimmage, they have one of those round-robin kinds of things where there may be 3 teams, or in some cases even 4 teams, all converging on a single site. If it's one of those, Steve is wanting to assign multiple crews because instead of whatever the normal number of plays is, they're going to go longer because they have 3 or 4 teams involved and will get more plays. So if you see that there are 3 teams, don't be surprised if there are multiple crews. This is a wonderful time to invite younger officials. If you are a 2 or if you are a 1 who is not currently associated and assigned on a crew, it's a good idea to get to multiple scrimmages, right? If you have the desire to attend a scrimmage, Steve Johnson will also have the list of crew chiefs and can tell you, Doug King's crew is working this scrimmage, or Ray Burt's crew is working a particular scrimmage, and he can tell you who's going to be in charge. We recommend strongly that before you just show up, that you in fact communicate with the assigned crew chief so that they know you're coming and can plan for that. All right? Sometimes they invite people they work Pop Warner with, or some guys from the rookie class, or half a dozen other guys, and if 4 more people show up, there may not be nearly as many repetitions as if you communicated in advance. Okay, the AZFOA is the group that coordinates these kinds of classes. They also do the assigning for youth football. In order to get games from them, you need to sign up with the AZFOA. And beginning last year, I think it was the first year, you can do an online sign-up. It used to be at the kickoff clinic, you had to go stand in the long line at the table and have your checkbook and make it out and all that other stuff. Now, they're modern technology. You can in fact go online to azfoa.org and they take PayPal. So you can pay your money and get registered and have your registration number and be all set up, ready to go. It's a good idea to do that, and trust me, a significant amount of work goes into getting these classrooms set up, having the air conditioning turned on, and coordinating things like the kickoff. And it's only a few dollars, 25, I think is the number, $25 annual, and you make that up in the first half of one of your games. All right, we mentioned first games for varsity football will be Friday the 25th. There's actually one on the 24th, a TV game. Late sign up. If you haven't already signed up, or if you're nervous because you went and got your fingerprints done and you've submitted your application but you don't have your actual fingerprint card back from DPS, it's okay. It's okay. If you haven't already submitted your stuff, or you've submitted your stuff and it was without the fingerprint portion of the registration, they need to have your application number. On the actual DPS form in the upper right corner, there's an application number. Okay? If the AIA has that, that will suffice until such time as your card arrives, and then you can give them your card number that you've been cleared. Okay? So if you're nervous about all of that, and you're not sure if you got your stuff in, check with Jeannie. She's the keeper of all of this data and would be happy to help if there are any concerns. All right, any questions before we start tonight's program?
Just one comment, if you can't find your application, just call DPS and wait on hold forever, and they'll finally answer.
Yes, if you for any reason haven't got your card back and you have submitted your application to DPS, but you didn't record the number before you sent it in, there is a way to get it, but it's working with the government and it is not expeditious. John?
If for chance you have not even submitted your application, I have blanks with me.
John shoots blanks. Over here, Steve. That's the message I got out of that. Steve? Okay. This year, one of the requirements as we get a little bit closer to the school year and into the school year, and I don't know if they're going to have this ready by the first week, is the AIA is going to produce a picture ID credential for officials. And this year, because it's a new process, I don't think most schools are going to be too picky. If you show up with your bag or your stripes for a JV game or whatever it might be, I'm pretty sure you're going to get on campus. But at some point, at some moment, they're going to draw the line in the sand and say, oh, no, there are too many weirdos who want to come on school campuses. We are now requiring this picture credential. So what that means to all of you is, even though you've registered and even though you got your DPS card, at some point you must also forward a headshot picture to the AIA office. And you can do that online, send them the JPEG file electronically, and then they will attach that to some picture ID credential and then get that out to you in the mail. So if you haven't already done that, be thinking about posing for a picture and have someone take your picture. It doesn't have to be in stripes, but it has to be a clear headshot and show your face. Right? All right. I'm going to digress just a little bit, and if you want to turn the camera off for a minute, you can. All of us have lives. Tonight's program. Tonight we're going to talk about scrimmage requirements and the running game. And this should get us there. Okay, a legal formation for the offensive team. What's the first thing we have to have? 7 guys on the line. That's the second thing in the list, but it's one of the important ones. The thing I count first. 5 linemen, 50 through 79. Now we know about the scrimmage kick formation where we have the numbering rule exception, okay? And that's the punt formation or field goal formation kind of thing where you have one guy at least 7 yards, nobody under the center, blah, blah, blah. In that case, you can have a lesser number of ineligibly numbered linemen lined up in the interior. But in a normal scrimmage circumstance, excluding the scrimmage formation, we must have 5, minimum 5, you can have more, minimum of 5 with the numbers 50 through 79. This is in effect at all levels of high school football. It is not in effect for youth football. They don't have the number thing and we don't worry about numbers at all in youth football, eligible or ineligible. But at all levels of high school football, this is in play. And so if you go out to a freshman game or a JV game and they have guys numbered in the 80s, okay, and no guys or not enough guys numbered here, I want you to call an official's timeout. And I want you to go over to the coach and I want you to tell him, this is a requirement at all levels. Now he may point to everybody and say, we got the hand-me-down jerseys and we don't have enough. What I want you to do is to play the game that day. But I want you immediately the next day, or same day if it's early enough, okay, communicate with AIA and say I had this school, and I had this team, and I had this coach, and his comment to me was this. And you can go on the AIAonline.org, whatever it is, and go under member schools and send an email to the athletic director. Say this will not be tolerated next week. Copy Jeannie, copy Gary, copy everybody in your roster if you want to. I don't really care. But we don't want to have this beyond week 1. And you may have some new freshman coaches. I've never coached football before except the youth level, and they don't have numbering requirements. And now here I am, and you're telling me I can't play my offensive line? First week, play the game. Freshman and JV. Varsity, sorry. Varsity, no exceptions. First week, they're abiding by the rule. Go get some jerseys out of the locker room. Find them. Okay? You'll see that in the warm-ups. All right.
Well, does Gary know that you're giving us this instruction? Because times that I've done that before, he's kind of snapped about that's their job.
Understand? I want you to communicate with Gary. I spoke with Gary during the summer, okay, at one of our advisory committee meetings, and I said, you know, the first year, second year, third year, we're talking hand-me-down jerseys. The trickle-down effect may not apply. We've been doing this for a while, okay? They should all have jerseys now. And he said, I agree. Now, what he does when you call him or email him during the season may be a little bit different, and I can't speak to that because I'm not Gary, and I don't sign his paycheck, honest. Okay, and he may feel differently about it. We've been doing this for a long time. Okay, so this should be enforced. Week 1, some latitude, freshman and JV level. 0 latitude, 0 tolerance at the varsity level starting week 1. And enforce it during the scrimmages if need be.
Correct me, but I thought the question was more like, does Gary want us contacting athletic directors ourselves or letting the AIA contact?
Oh, all I'm saying is you don't make this an individual specific communique to the athletic director only. Send it to Gary and let Gary know the name of the school, the level of football, the date of the game, the name of the head coach. You can get the head coach's name if you want for that team, and then copy the athletic director, and it'll save Gary a step. If the athletic director is getting it, he knows about this. Okay, and over the years, they've obviously had some amount of budget. School budget cuts haven't gone that far. They says, oh, sorry, we're only giving you jerseys numbered in the 80s. Okay, minimum 7 players on the line of scrimmage, and we'll have a slide here in a bit that shows some pictures of that. But let's talk about what is the requirement to be considered on the line of scrimmage. We sometimes see these lines that look more like a banana instead of a line. Okay, so what is the requirement for someone to be considered on the line? Yes, sir.
Doesn't the head of the person who's not the center has to penetrate where his belt's at?
The correct answer is to be considered on the line, okay, your helmet must penetrate the line going through the waist of the snapper. Okay? Your helmet must penetrate the line going through the waist of the snapper. Okay? And we'll see a picture of that, so there's an example, graphic example of that coming up. Okay? Now, you can only have one back in a position to receive a snap, and he must be underneath the snapper. There have been schools over time that have tried to be tricky and have the quarterback line up under the player adjacent to the snapper, line up under the guard, and then they did a long snap to one of the backs, direct snap shotgun style or wildcat style, okay? That is illegal. If you have a player who goes and puts his hands underneath and he's in that no man's land, he's not on the line and he's not in the backfield, he must be lined up under the snapper. That's very specific in the rule book. He can't be lined up under the guard or under the tackle. If he's going to put his hands underneath somebody, it's for the purpose of putting your hands underneath the snapper. Now, he does not have to receive the snap. He can put his hands under there and they can snap it between his legs or around his legs or something to another back. But if any player on the offensive team puts his hands underneath, those hands can only be underneath a snapper. Otherwise, it's illegal formation. Everybody following that? David?
Back on the lineman issue, not only the head, but it can also be his foot for the wideouts. It says that in the book, head or foot.
Yes, thank you, David. In the scenario where a person is not in a three-point stance, okay, he can line up like this, and his head may be back far enough, but if his foot or his helmet break the plane of the snapper's waistline, then he is considered truly to be on the line and can be counted as one of the 7. Okay? And we have this thing about you got to be visible in the middle of the field where people know who you are and you're not running some kind of sleeper thing. So the rule says sometime between the ready for play signal and when the ball is snapped, maximum 25 seconds as I count, okay? Every player must be between the 9-yard marks, okay? Every player must be between the 9-yard marks. And so if you have a late arriving substitute and he's a wideout, he cannot step on the field and just be in here if the 9-yard marks are over there. He's got to come in, be visible and recognized by the defense, and then come back out. Now, we do have exceptions in the hurry-up style offense. And that is if it's a no-huddle kind of a circumstance. They're not going into a huddle. And normally, if you go in a huddle, you're inside the 9s. Okay? If you're in a no-huddle circumstance and a player is a wide receiver and he goes downfield, he can go and line up. But he must be covered, he must be, number one, a continuing player. He can't be a sub just coming in off the bench. He must have played the prior down and continuing to the next down. And secondarily, he must be covered by a defender. So if you see, let's say you're a wingman. You're out here like this, okay? Wide receiver goes out, they're in hurry-up offense, he comes back and lines up way out here next to you, he's clearly outside the 9s, and there's no defender. There's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, we got 85 over here. Safety, 85, we got 85 right here, everybody see him? And if they choose not to cover him, that's their business. But I would go through the trouble of pointing him out. I would make him visible to the defense. Point him out. I got this guy, he's in. Somebody needs to come over and cover him. If they choose not to come over, that's their business. But get eye contact with some defender and let them know you got a guy over here. Everybody good with that? Now, any questions on between the 9-yard marks before the snap and the exception? We are allowing that exception in the hurry-up. Okay? Here is our discussion of formation. And you see here is our snapper, and this is the line penetrating his waist. Number 88 has his helmet beyond that mark, beyond that plane, so he is considered on the line. In this example, 88 is not ahead of that line, so he would be considered a wingback or not a lineman. Should I stand over there? Better? Okay, so we have legal and illegal. Now we want to talk about live ball and dead ball. One of the things that's no fun for anybody is when you have teams lined up, offense, defense, and for whatever reason, something funky happens, and some of the players start firing off and executing and playing the down, and some of the people are standing there because they know this play is not going to go, or shouldn't go, and there's no whistle. And now you got people wondering, should I run with the ball? Should I throw the touchdown pass? Should I sack this guy and knock him down? Or should I just stand here because everybody knows that was a foul that should not allow the play to go off? So we want to spend a little time so that there is no confusion whatsoever on those that we will throw the flag and allow the play to continue versus those that are dead ball fouls and we're going to shut it down and this play is not going to go. Okay? Everybody comfortable on the concept of some plays you shut them down, it's a live ball, it's a dead ball foul, we're not going to let the play go off, versus it's a live ball foul, we're going to play the down, and then the team that did not commit the foul will have options. You can take the result of the play, or we're going to enforce whatever the foul might be. So, in the case of the dead ball foul, blow and throw. The term I like to use, the phrase I like to use is shut it down. You want to be continuing to blow your whistle until all players have stopped. Okay? Not just one pop on the whistle and then I'm throwing my flag and I'm coming in verbally or I'm giving some kind of signal or something like that. But instead, you continue to blow your whistle in short bursts until all players have stopped. Okay? That's the whole idea. Because what you don't want is one player standing up and thinking it's over and watching a bird fly across the sky and somebody else come and taking that guy out. That's big problems the rest of the day. And it could be a subsequent foul, the initial foul for the dead ball, whatever, and then a personal foul for the guy coming in and getting a cheap shot. So what we want to make sure we do here is shut it down. Okay? In a live ball, we're going to throw the flag, we're going to let the whistle drop from our mouth, and all you got to do is say, ah. It'll fall out. Okay? And then you let the play happen. And then at the end of the play, our mechanic is continue to have short bursts on the whistle if you threw a flag until you and the referee have eye contact with one another. When you have a flag and the play continues, you do not give a quick pop on your whistle and then go back to your business and cover the flag or anything like that. You continue to have short bursts on the whistle until you and the crew chief, the referee, have specific eye contact. Okay? And then when you got eye contact, you're coming over to him and you're saying, Bryce, here's what I got. And you go tell him. Until the moment where you have eye contact with the referee, if you're throwing a flag on a play, you keep blowing your whistle. Because you don't want him to do anything other than, wait a minute, we got something going on. We got something going on that we need to figure out before we go forward. No ready for play, okay? No charge timeouts to anybody. No stopping or starting the clock, different from what I got right here. This penalty, we're going to stop the clock, we're going to figure out this penalty, and then everything else comes after that. Don't let your crew dig themselves a hole by not properly starting the penalty reporting. Okay. I hear voices.
Say you have a wing, say you have a false start or encroachment. The wing throws his flag, he doesn't blow the whistle, the play continues, and after the play is over, we come and say, well, I had a false start or encroachment.
The question is this. The wing has made a mistake in judgment and erroneously thrown his flag for what should be a dead ball foul, and he allows the play to continue. Okay? In that case, you kind of are stuck. It's hard to undo the play. Now, what I'm going to tell you first is, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, you should have 2 flags for those kinds of shut it down fouls. If there's a false start, it shouldn't be only one wing. The other wing may have a shot, the umpire may have a shot, the referee may have a shot. So in a false start, okay, that's the kind of thing you can easily have multiple flags. Okay? And so the first order of business on this is, where were the other guys or girls? Where were the other officials on that play? Why didn't you have multiple flags? In the case of an encroachment, maybe it's one of those that the head was this far off. And last down you said something about watch your heads, watch where you line up, you're pretty close to the line, and we all have this secret language that we use that says, hey buddy, I'm about to throw a flag on you if you don't straighten up. That's the message we're trying to send, that's the message, but we want to use polite language because these are children. And so you say, watch where you line up, watch your heads, or you might say 56, back up. Okay? On games that I work, okay, if the whole head isn't in there, I want to be able, from the middle of the field as the referee, I want to be able to hear my wings talking about that before I have a flag. That's just me. Some of you may be more or less strict about that or more or less demanding of your people, but in my case, if I haven't heard my guys yell about that and you didn't have a whole helmet in there, let's figure it out. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Okay? Let them know. Did you come in and tell them? Now, you don't have to tell them yourself. Maybe you went in and told the umpire, hey, the nose tackle, I can't see his number, but the nose tackle's lining up in the neutral zone. Or the left guard is really too far back, we need to get him up on the line. Whatever it might be, let's try to help them out. Okay? Let's try to get them going. And I think we've all been in the scenario where we have had Pop Warner games or other youth football leagues where they couldn't even figure out how many guys are supposed to be on the line, and the coach last year was holding the chains for you. Okay? And so we call timeout. We say, okay, snapper, get on the ball. Guards right here. Tackles right here. Okay, where's my tight end? Line up here. Okay, guys right here, line up. See where you are? That's where you're lining up every play. And then you go, coach, no other formations. This is the only formation we're running today. Okay? And if they try to do some whiz-bang play with triple motion option something or other, now you got to get 7 on the line. I'm going to try to help you with the basics, but I'm not going to create a whole offensive program for you in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So if they can't even get 7 on the line, we're going back to basics. That's the way I do it. All right. Did I answer your question? Okay. No, the answer is you're going to call a penalty and say, okay, next time that's a live ball foul. Whose class have you been going to? And if he says my class, tell him to wake it up, that he wasn't really paying attention in the class. Okay? Find out where they're from. Now, you may have rookies that are going to make mistakes, and understand. Okay? But you can say, okay, we're going to call that one 6 on the line. Didn't have enough guys on the line, and it's going to be, you want the play or you want the 5 yards? Okay? And then you tell them, next time, kill that dead. So that's the answer. For a freshman JV game, that's what I'm doing. If it's a varsity game, I'm going to say, anybody over in the chain crew got your stripes with you? Can you step in for this guy? That's just me. All right, here are those plays that we're going to shut it down. Remember, shut it down. False start, right now, false start. And false start is simulating action at the snap. I forgot the snap count. I thought it was 1 and it was really 2. So on 1, I'm going, ugh! And as soon as he gets to here, he knows he's busted. Okay? It's obvious and everybody else knows it too. Okay? If you don't know that call, get up and leave the room now. Okay? We've all seen it 100 times. Okay? Snap infraction. That's where the center does something funky with the ball. Okay? Takes both hands off the ball. Okay? Or does a check hike and then tries to put the ball back. He lifts the ball up and then puts it back down. He slides the ball forward. It does something else funky with the ball instead of a legal one continuous motion snap. Encroachment is where somebody's got their head in there. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about encroachment on a future slide, but our league is different than the bigger leagues. In college, you can step in and step out. It's kind of like a dance step. And as long as they didn't snap the ball while you were across the line, it's all good. Okay? In high school, no way, Jose. It's a plane from either side of the ball, sideline to sideline. And if you step in there, it's over. Flag, whistle, 5 yards, try it again. Okay? And yeah, you hear coaches that go, wait a minute, they didn't snap the ball. He can get in, he can get out. When they're NCAA, when they're NFL, they can do that. National Federation of High School Football, no way, Jose. Okay? Dead ball. Kind of like that live end zone thing. Running kicks out of the end zone, we don't get to do that either. And delay of game, that's our 25-second thing. Okay? 25-second thing. Okay? And if you work 5-man and you're that back judge or you're the referee on the 4-man, you get the 25-second. We don't really like to call those. And anybody that says it's really a 25-second clock, the only time it's a 25-second clock is when you got the field 25-second clock. And even then, I'm trying to manage that on the front end. Okay? It means I'm going to be slower to give the ready because I know that we can't be helping them out, if you know what I mean, helping them out on the tail end. Okay? If you got it here or here and you're the back judge, okay, you can set it for 28. And you can come up and say, hey, Bob, get these guys going. They're really slow. They're pushing it. Come on, get them going. Hustle them up. Now, normally when I'm the referee, not always, normally when I'm the referee, I have a pretty good feel for that. I'm back there. I gave the ready for play. My mental thing is kind of going, okay? And I can tell, like, this is taking a long time. They should be snapping the ball by now. And if they're not, usually before Pat comes in and tells me, hey, Bob, get him going, I'm telling him, hey, guys, let's go. Let's get the play off. Come on, let's go, get the play off. Or I'm looking over at the coach because one of the popular things is over, what are we running this time, coach? Got it. And then the very next play, he runs back over. And sometimes the coach is over there scratching something or other, maybe his chin, maybe his head, maybe something else, okay? And he's taking too long over there. So by the time he gets the player back in and you got 11 and he shares the play information and they line up, it's too much time. So then you tell the coach, get that play in here faster, okay? And then he starts blaming the kid that the kid has to run faster, but it's really the coach's fault sometimes, okay? That he took too long over there. What do we want to run now? So, kill that one. And then illegal substitution. The illegal substitution, you're going to see there's one also that can be a live ball. We'll talk about that in a moment. But illegal substitution is when you count 12 players. Now, if it's defense, you can say, count your players, got too many, somebody's got to go out. Let's ho. Who's not supposed to be in? Who'd you come in for? All different kinds of, again, secret language that you can use. And really you're trying to say, I don't want to throw a flag right now. Somebody go out there because you got too many. Okay? On offense, what is the rule for a team that is in a normal huddle? If you have an incoming substitute, you got 11 on the field right now. Incoming substitute, he makes number 12. How long does he have? I heard a number over here quantity-wise. What was it? 3 seconds. We're saying 3, and over here I heard reasonable time. Okay? I'm going to go with somewhere in between that. Okay? At least 3 seconds. But remember again, we're dealing with children. Okay? And sometimes as the referee, you can see this happen. A guy comes in, and he's coming in for John, and he's going, John, I'm in for you. He's going, no way, man. My mom's here tonight. I don't want to go out. I'm staying in. Go in for somebody else or go back out. And he's going, no, coach told me to go in. And they're having their little discussion here. All right? One of you guys got to go. John, come on, go talk to the coach right now. I'll tell your mom it's okay. Say something, help them out. So it may be a little longer than 3 seconds. I don't want to make it 10. Okay? Now, when can it not be 3 seconds? Once they break the huddle, you cannot have 12 players going to line up in formation. Once they're assuming positions and developing an offensive set, lining up as it were, no time. Okay? If they got 12 guys and guys are starting to get set in position, then I'm going 3, 6, 9, 11 plus. 3, 6, 9, 11 plus. Woo! Let's go. Okay? If they're lining up in formation, no 3 seconds. Once they break the huddle, and that used to be a thing, if they break the huddle with 12, and sometimes you hear that from the sideline, they broke the huddle with 12. Yeah, he was just coming in and John didn't want to leave. If John's running out, it's okay. Okay? Now, if they're having that a little bit longer than 3 second issue, I'm going to make sure they don't have it often. If they have it once, okay, then that's plenty. The next time I'm going to go, John, get out of here. Get out of here. Go. And I'm going to tell him, Coach, you got to talk to John. He doesn't want to go out. Get him out faster. Okay? Because truly there is an advantage to having more than 11 in the offensive huddle because the defense doesn't know what package. Is that the heavy package? Is it the 5 wide package? And so if you allow the offense to huddle and call a play and keep extra people in there, the defense doesn't have time to react. And when the offense breaks the huddle and comes up to line up, the defense often can do a late substitution based on who's in, or they can look in the huddle and say, oh, it's the heavy package, put in another lineman, take out the safety, or nickel package, defense, go. So you have to be alert to that. Don't let the offense have that more than 3 seconds all day long. Once is plenty. Okay? All right, illegal motion. And we'll see a play here that's called illegal motion, and we're going to have some discussion on that because last night they argued at a different class about that. Illegal formation, that means less than 7 on the line, okay? Or a quarterback lining up under the guard. Okay? Illegal shift, and some people get that shift in motion thing confused. Illegal participation, that's more than 12, or a guy that wasn't inside the 9s, can be a few different things. And there is one live ball, illegal substitution. Who knows what that is? When would you have the 5-yarder and it's a live ball, we're not killing it? Anybody? Anybody? Mr. Bueller? Oh, go ahead. Tom.
When a player comes on the field after the snap.
During the play, right. You have 11 players on a particular team participating, the snap goes. And during the play, while the play is in action, the coach goes, we only got 10. Jones, get in there. And Jones doesn't know any better. Coach said go in, he runs in. Now he's the 12th guy because the coach couldn't count correctly. Okay? And then he gets to the numbers and goes, holy crap, I'm number 12. And he turns around and they're saying, no, get out, Jones, get out. He went in, he came out. It was during a live ball scenario. It's a live ball 5-yard penalty if he did not participate. He made an attempt to enter the game, but he left before he really did any damage. Okay? He went right back out. You okay with that? All right. False start. Okay, false start is a few different kinds of things. Missing the snap count. Oops, this way. Missing the snap count. That's the usual one where the guard just stands up or he fires out or the wide receiver way over there, even out of the camera picture, takes off. Simulating action at the snap. That's the key phrase I want you to have in your mind. Simulating action at the snap. If he does something that tells the other team, we're going to snap the ball, and the ball didn't get snapped, that's a foul. We're going to kill it right now. We're going to move on. 5 yards, start over. Trying to draw B. This is not talking pencil and paper or watercolors. This is the John Elway play. The head bob, the put your hands in, the stomp my foot. Try to do something from an offensive standpoint to encourage the team on the other side of the ball to jump in the neutral zone and commit a foul. You see this often on less than 5 yards to make the line to gain. And instead of running a play and trying to legitimately gain the yards, we're going to try to be tricky. Okay, everybody hold still. It's going to be on 47. Ready? Hut, hut, hut! Hut, hut, hut! That kind of stuff, okay? If the offense is doing something that is intentionally trying to get Team B to commit a foul, that's a foul over here on the offense. okay? Head bob. Now, he can have inflection in his voice, and we allow that, okay? And most of the time you see they try it, it's not working, time out, okay? Give them a little time to try it, okay? Making a quick movement. This again is simulating action at the snap, okay? Quick or abrupt is the other word I'll use. Quick or abrupt. Steve?
Talk about the guy, the quarterback is in like a shotgun formation, all these steps, and how much are we going to give him?
Okay, that is kind of in the next section when we're talking about motion and shift as opposed to false start, okay? But the one that could be a false start is if the quarterback is here in a shotgun and he's not really realizing the exact timing of the snap, and he starts to go forward and simulates action at the snap before the ball actually comes, okay? And he's getting excited, he wants to get the play off, and so he starts moving, okay, and he simulates action at the snap. Normally, foot movement is going to be something related to a shift, and we'll talk about that on a future slide. All right, live or dead, we talked about those. When do we kill it? When do we shut it down? If you're not sure about this, I'll be with you in just a second. If you're not sure about this, spend some time in the book. Spend some time in your pregame. Come on now, what time do we get to games? They kick off at 7, we get there 5:30-ish, okay? Now I know it takes me a little time to take off this kind of stuff and put on my other kind of stuff, okay? And most of the time we're telling jokes and stuff like that during my pregame, okay? And then we say, okay, we're gonna start the pregame now. But if you're having any problems with this, you got some extra time while people are getting dressed, or while you're riding over to the game, or on the telephone during the week. Don't let this be a continuing problem. If you have people who are working with you, and I don't care if it's freshman JV or Pop Warner, if they don't know this live ball, dead ball, shut it down, throw the flag and let the play go, they've been at this too long. They should have this figured out by now. Question?
Question I have for you with the quick movement. Say the linemen come up in a 2-point stance and then they go down to a 3-point. When
Okay.
Westwood did it, Zuby was there, I thought the topic was that if they did that, we were going to get them. If it caused now...
Right. What he's talking about is back in the day when Westwood had a former coach, okay, who then went to St. Mary's and now he's somewhere else, okay? They would come out in a 2-point stance. Linemen go like this. And then they'd start to call signals, and in unison, okay, they would have a thing where they went, hoo, like this. It's the old Dallas Cowboy thing where they'd go, hoo, hoo, like that. And when they move quickly, and they're 200 and something pounds or 300 and something pounds, the defense starts to see that and they think somebody's coming at them. They need to get in there, and it would cause the defense to jump. You especially would see that with Westwood when it was less than 5 yards to go. They were inside the tape, okay? And they were trying to do it with the intent of drawing the defense into a foul circumstance, okay? They got away with it for a little while, okay? And then I think Steve had them in a TV game and had 17 of those fouls in one game, I think. And they were all good calls. They were all good calls, okay?
I got a point to that now. Mahoney was trying to call me to warn me ahead of time, but didn't get called. So there's us referees
Right.
need to call each other when we see strange stuff like that.
If you have one of these scenarios where a team is doing something funky like that, make sure Gary knows, and Gary will alert the next crew chief. Make sure David Ross knows. A couple of years ago, we had David Alvarez as the crew chief who did his weekly referee crew chief note. And it was the love letter, newsletter, whatever you wanted to call it. And if there was weirdness going on, that this team didn't come out at halftime, or the band stayed on too long at this school, or whatever it might be, okay? It got shared. And so the next week when you came there, no one ever told us that. Yeah, you've been told and we've been told because it made the rounds. So if you have information like that where somebody's trying to be cute, we don't let them be cute for very long. Did I answer your question? Generally, if it simulates action at the snap, it's a foul by A. Simulate action at the snap, and then this kind of goes up with this. Trying to draw B, any act intended to cause B to encroach. Those are kind of together. All right, when is it encroachment? Right now. In our league, as soon as you got this, it's over. Okay? In college, this guy could be okay if he got back before the snap. This guy's trouble because he had contact. We don't worry about contact. We don't worry about whether or not the ball was snapped. If you broke the plane and you're in there, 5. Start over. Let's go. You could have a 5 and a 15. if this guy jumps in and this guy says, oh man, this defensive tackle's been kicking my butt all game, now's my chance, it's 5 yards against them, we're killing it, I'm going to go out and nail this guy. And he goes out and puts his helmet where it hurts the most, okay? Or he just goes and decks that guy because he's standing up looking sideways, and boom, you can have a 5 and a 15. Or you have a circumstance where this guy commits a foul and this guy comes in and just bangs the quarterback and throws him down, okay? Body slam. Okay? You can have a 5 and a 15. It doesn't have to be 5 and that's all. If you have subsequent action that is personal foul worthy, get them. All right, forward progress, virtually every play. Okay? And what we want to talk about in this area is, where do you spot the ball? Okay? How do you determine where the ball is going to be placed for the next down? It says here that the end of the advancement of the ball toward the opponent's goal. Now, we got 4 ways that a play can end. Here's the big 4. He's down by rule. Okay, and what does down by rule mean? He's down by rule when any part of his body, other than the hand or foot, and this is important, you can put your hand down on the ground for balance and get back up. You could have the ball in one hand, put the ball on the ground with the hand on the ball and pick it back up and you're still not down. Okay? Any other body part besides the hand or foot touches the ground and his forward progress is marked at the ball's foremost point when he touches the ground. So it's not, he went and his knee went down there, so we're putting where his knee went down. Where was the ball when his knee touched the ground? Isn't where his knee was. That's not where we're putting the ball. Where was the ball when the knee went down? And it might be the ball was back here. It might be he's reaching it out because he knows he needs that extra 6 inches to make the first down. Okay? And there's one other point I want to make before we go on here. Touches the ground. We've seen this a few times in pro football, not as much in high school. Okay? But if there's a pile of players on the ground, and somebody tries to do the Sam Bam Cunningham where he jumps over the pile and he lands on a pile of players but he doesn't touch the ground, he can get up and keep running. If you land on players and no part of your body other than hand or foot has touched the ground, you're not down. So if you get hit and knocked down by another player and you land on top of a teammate or an opponent, doesn't matter, and nothing besides your hand or foot has touched the ground, you're not down. Okay? All right, so wings, what are your mechanics? You're looking at the ball. You need to know where the feet are. You need to know if another body part touched the ground, but you need to know the position of the ball. Okay? Was he holding it out here? Did he have it tucked in here? Okay? Was it above his head, behind him? Was the ball loose? His forward progress is stopped is method 2, and that's where he never touched anything besides his hand or foot, but the defense is driving him backwards. Driving him backwards, okay? And you think, all right, that's enough. He's not going to gain any more. Now, is it where you blow the whistle when you mark the ball? Or is it the forward point of where the ball made it to, even though the whistle sounded a half a second or a full second later? Okay? Now here's the tough part for all of you in this room. Okay? We're going to talk about something called, okay, the Team A end zone. That means you're on the 5-yard line going out. And the quarterback's rolling around in the end zone running, okay? And all of a sudden he sees there's nobody open. And the pressure's on. And he decides he's going to run for it. And he starts running and he gets close to the goal line and he gets tackled. I want all of you in this room to make sure that you never mark the ball straddling the goal line. Okay? I want you to have the forward point of the ball, at least a full ball into the field of play, so the back end of the ball is not touching the goal line, or you have him completely in the end zone. Okay? Make your life easy. There's enough other things out there that make it difficult for you. This is not one of those where you want to complicate the life of the referee and the umpire with some meaningless thing. Well, technically he was this far, Bob. The ball was this far beyond the goal line. Okay, whose crew are you going to be on next week? Okay, if you're on my crew, okay, if you're on my crew, there's a few simple things that we go over relative to the lines. Okay, number one, on any change of possession down, guess what? The ball will always start exactly on a yard line. It just sort of happens that way. The plays in my game always work out that way. We never start a series on the 22 and a half. It doesn't happen. Okay? Why are you making your life miserable and doing something like that in the first place? It makes it lovely for the chain guy, and the umpire can just say, 23-yard line. Okay, you got to kick off, you got to run back, 32-yard line. Set up on the 32. Why do you want to make it the 14 and 3/4 yard line? And in this scenario, same analogy, why do you want to have the ball this far beyond the goal line and the back part of the ball still in the end zone? If that happens, that's a safety. The rule says if a ball is coming out of team A's end zone, it must be completely out in order to continue the series. And if any part of the ball, the back tip of the ball is touching the goal line, then the ball is considered not to have made it out of the end zone and it's 2 points. Okay? Don't make your life harder than it has to be. When you have a play and somebody's running out of the end zone, they're either all the way a full ball out or they're not anywhere out. They're this far in. Why would you do it any other way? If anybody's got an answer to that can convince me, give it a shot. Okay. He steps out of bounds. Now, what we're concerned about here is, again, where was the ball when the player touched out of bounds? We don't care where his foot was on the line. And how many times have you been in a game or watched a game on television and they run over and say, "You stepped out right here. That's where I'm putting the ball, this way." Okay? Where was the ball? The ball could have been over here, okay? The position of the ball at the time the player touched out of bounds. That's what you're concerned about. The forward point of the ball specifically. If he loses possession, either in a voluntary or involuntary way, here's the voluntaries, there's 3 of them right here. Handing it to somebody, passing it to another player, or kicking it, those are all voluntary, he did it on purpose, okay? Or by fumbling, that's involuntary. That means I didn't mean to do it, coach, okay? It just happened. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about progress, and we're going to talk about 1 versus 1 and also 1 versus many. And what I want you to be thinking about in this conversation of 1 versus 1 and 1 versus many is if it's 1 versus many, you don't give that thing very long to go. Okay? If you got a ball carrier and there's many defenders, and many is defined by me as 3 or more. 3 or more defenders against 1 runner, make it quick. Get it over with. Don't let him run back 12, 15 yards or let the 4th or 5th or 6th guy come in and jump on that guy too. 1 versus many, forward progress happens pretty quickly. What are the odds that he's going to get away from many? Not so much. It happens, but not so much. So when you have 1 versus many, I want you to be thinking of being a little quicker on that whistle, get your forward progress spot. Let's call this one over. Let's have a day. Okay, next. If you have 1 versus 1, now this is where you earn your money. Sometimes you have DJ Foster from Saguaro, who's now at ASU. Sometimes you have Mario Bates. Some of you aren't old enough to know who Mario Bates is. Sometimes you have Adrian Peterson in the NFL. And if it's one-on-one, the defender's got a big disadvantage. Okay? And there's a reasonable possibility that you're not going to have forward progress, but he's going to break loose. The runner's going to break loose and get away and continue that run. So I want you to be a little more deliberate, a little more careful, and make sure that you really want to have forward progress. Now, here's the difference. If you've got 1 versus many, if I get up to the 35-yard line and I get hit and I'm knocked back, I'm calling it the 35-yard line, okay? If I got 1 versus 1 and I get up to the 35 and I'm thinking, I don't know, this runner's pretty good. He might get away. And he dances back to the 32 and then he does a spin move and now the second guy comes in, or now you think this one-on-one really got him. You say, okay, that's enough. He's not going to get away now. They really got him. Then he gets to 32. He doesn't get that initial position if in your mind you were still going to let him go if he got away. He only gets the yardage to the point where he was when you determined this play's over. That's enough. He's not going any farther. He's not getting away. If you think that you're going to let him get away and run, then you don't have forward progress at that spot. Everybody with me on that? This is very important because it's not fair to the defense, okay, to give him that 32-yard line if he drove him back, or the 35-yard line, if he drove him back to the 32 and you're still letting him play. Because if he got away, you're going to let him run. He shouldn't get that yardage. At whatever moment you determine this play's over, he's done, he's not getting away, I'm calling it, that's where it was. Now, it's not where the whistle blew. Where was the ball when the whistle blew there? It's when you made up your mind. Over. Okay? One versus many, make it quick. It's over. Don't let somebody get hurt or somebody pile on him. Okay? And usually, sideline's going to help you on this one. Okay? If it's one versus many, blow the whistle. Don't let him get killed. Blow the whistle. Hurry up. What are you waiting for? If it's one versus one, usually about the time you make up your mind and you're blowing the whistle, he breaks. Oh, what are you blowing the whistle for? Okay? Just understand that you're in charge there. You're not helping them call offense. They're not helping you make plays or make calls. All right. One versus one versus many. Here's our play. He runs to the 20. We start on the 40, so we're going in. He runs to the 20. And he's contacted in first by several. And by several, just change that to many. Okay, this is our one versus many. I don't want to say several, I want to say many. He's then carried back several yards and dumped at the 25. Okay, so he started here, got hit by many players here, and they drove him back to the 25 right there. Okay, in that case, you're going to kill it. And he gets the 20 because it was many players. Now in this case, here's the other example we talked about. One-on-one, he's pushed back to the 25 where he breaks free and continues, and he's final tackle in the 22. Okay? When he got hit by one guy at the 20 and was driven back, you're thinking he might get away. I'm not going to end this yet. I'm going to let him go. He's a good back. He could get away. And he does. But then he gets to the 22. So you can't now go back and say, well, he really was up to the 20. We're going to just go ahead and put him there. That's not fair. That's not fair. So one versus many. In our many example, as soon as he's pushed backwards by many, it's over and he gets his maximum yardage. In the one-on-one, we let him run, and wherever we determined he was done, he was done. Now in this case, he went tackled to the ground at the 22, so there's no forward progress ruled. Okay? So on the 20, driven back, and then he made it to the 22. Or he put it back on the 20. That's our first example. And then this is the second example, one-on-one. Driven back to the 25. He breaks away back to the 22, and that's where we're going to put the ball. All right, crossfield spots. How many guys are wings? Raise your hand if you're a wing. A lot of wings in here. Okay. We should have 2 wings for every crew, we hope. Okay, the deal on the wings is this. Okay? We work as a team, we work as a unit, we work as a crew. Okay? And just because the play goes the other way doesn't mean that it's time to watch the cheerleaders. It doesn't mean that you get to get a soda. It doesn't mean that you can start telling jokes with the coach over here. Okay? It means that you're working just as hard, you just have a little bit different role. Okay? When do we use crossfield spots? And how do we communicate? Hey, Dave, I got your spot. If you do that, it makes it look like he doesn't know what he's doing. Ideally, in a cross-field mechanic where you're picking up a spot from the other guy, nobody knows. It just seemed like he had the spot always right here, and he finally went over and just stood there. That when the play happened, he watched the play, let's say the play happened at the 40, and he's at the 35 because of whatever was going on there. He couldn't get to the 40. He's watching from the 35, and when the play ends, he watches it all clear, he helps get the ball back, and he goes right to that spot. And they're thinking, man, that guy is good. Well, the truth is, he's pretty good, but he had help. Okay? We don't necessarily want to play all of our cards and say, hey, I got your spot. Jim, got your spot. Over here, I got you. Okay? There are more subtle ways to do it that make all of us look a little more professional, and that's what we want to talk about right now. Okay? How can it help your crew? Well, the first thing it does, it gives you the right spot. It makes you more accurate. It makes your crew better, okay? Now, here's the play. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by having the offense, okay, right here. Here's our snapper. This is blue, okay? And this X is over here for a reason, okay? Here's our 5-man crew, the referee, right-handed quarterback, so he's over on the right-hand side. Wing over here, back judge. Here's the guy who's going to be our helper, the silent contributor to the action. Ready? We have a snap. Everybody with me so far? Good. If you were lost there, we were going to have to start over. Okay. He throws the ball over there. He didn't really run with it. He throws the ball over there. Okay? Everybody with me so far? We're inside the 30. And this guy comes and, he gets knocked back and out of bounds. Now, where did he go out of bounds? He went out at the 30, but he had progress to the 32. Okay? Everybody with me? He got hit at the 32 and knocked back, and he went out of bounds at the 30.
28.
Thank you. We're going in. Yeah, 28 right here. Yeah, I had it all the time. I just want to see if you're paying attention. Okay. And so now, look where this guy is. Okay? He's in good position. He's supposed to trail the play, right? He's not supposed to be in advance of the play where he can get run over. He's supposed to trail it. And now when the play is ending, he's coming up hard. Okay? But look at this guy. He didn't give up on the play. He went up to our yard line, found our spot, and he comes in. Now, by coming in off of the sideline here, he's silently communicating to his crew members. Okay? So when this guy's done, if he's worked with this guy before, he knows he's got me. I know he's got me. I can take care of my business over here, okay, and watch to see that there's no funny stuff at the sideline, that nobody's kicking somebody, okay, that the chains went down like they're supposed to, and that coach is yelling at me. I got it, coach. Don't worry about it. Got it covered. And then when he comes up, he looks across, says, "Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that." Everybody in the stands thinks he did it all by himself. But the truth of the matter is, this guy's working hard. Now, for the most part, he's going to have a clear view because these players are usually going to be in this area. Once in a while, you're going to have somebody in here that's going to block your view. But by and large, you're going to have a clear visual shot across here. Okay? And you're going to help your crew. And this guy, or girl, might end up even buying you a beer after the game. Okay? All right, handoffs. Handoff is a very specific definition in the book. And it means that I voluntarily gave up possession of the ball to a teammate, but before they got possession, my hand was still on it. That one person was accepting possession as I was releasing possession. And at some moment in there, multiple players were touching the ball. Okay? That's a requirement in a handoff. Multiple players will be handling the ball. It can be backward at any time, any place on the field. You can always hand it backwards. If I'm starting to get tackled, here, you run with it for a while. There's a big guy coming. He's going to hit me. You take it. Yours. Handing the ball. Handing, not throwing, not tossing. Handing the ball. When can we hand it forward? Before possession has changed, number one. Behind the line of scrimmage, number two. With me so far? Okay. Legal versus illegal. Now, behind the line of scrimmage, for those of you who are almost as old as me, there was once a quarterback at Ohio State named Rex Kern, and he wasn't much of a passer, but he was a magician in handing off the ball. And he did this kind of stuff, and you never knew where the ball went, and sooner or later there was a guy running over with the ball, or else this guy's running over there and you think he's got the ball, and here comes Rex Kern. Okay? Some people are like that. They're really magical with the ball, and they can make people believe they gave it away to someone else when they really didn't. Okay? Some crews use the term see the pig. Some people say see leather, see the ball, don't blow until you see the football. It's kind of important. It's kind of important. I'll tell you a story about what can happen and what kind of trouble you can get in a moment. Legal versus illegal. Forward handling. Quarterback can always hand the ball forward behind the line of scrimmage. Okay? You can step back like this, turn and have the back come in front of you and hand the ball forward. Okay? Once the ball crosses the line of scrimmage, or certainly once you have change of team possession, No more forward handing of the ball. And then a player number, okay? If you're going to hand the ball forward to a player, he must be a number that is in the eligible range, 1 through 49, 80 through 99, unless he does his magical dance steps near the line of scrimmage. You know, both feet pivot, turn and face your own goal line. There's all that legal mumbo jumbo. You rarely see that, and what they're trying to do is eliminate the fumble rooski, where somebody puts the ball on the ground or hands it to somebody who's an offensive lineman. I take the ball and I give it to my guard, and I only need 6 inches, and he jumps 6 inches before the defense can really do anything about it. Can't do that. If you're going to hand the ball, the offensive lineman, 50 through 79, has to do some specific things with his feet. We rarely see it, so I don't want to bore you with the details there.
But per rule, Bob, I thought that's only when it's in the vicinity of the center. So like if it turns into a broken play, he can hand the ball off to the lineman.
Once the ball's left the box. Right, once the ball's left the box.
What if you got a lineman lined up at fullback?
Okay, then he is not one of your eligible, he's not one of your ineligibles. Okay, he cannot catch a pass. He's not counting as your 50 through 79, but he can get a forward handoff because he was not an interior lineman by position. You can have William the Refrigerator Perry take a forward handoff.
The way you had mentioned it, it sounded like there was no way that a...
You got a knife? Arrow? Shoot me, kill me. It's okay. I'm good. I have thick skin. I can take it. Yes. I misspoke. Okay, what has to take place before any fumble can happen? You have to have possession. What we're talking about here is if a guy's back to receive a punt, signal fair catch. Okay, I see all these guys coming at me. I don't want him to hit me. Fair catch. And he puts his hands up like this and the ball goes straight through. Is that a fumble? No, it's a muff. Okay, it's a muff. There's a separate word for that because he never had possession of the ball. He tried, he wanted, he attempted, he didn't. Okay? So, in order to have a fumble, somebody must have possession of the ball. Now, who can advance a fumble? Everybody who's eligible in that play. Okay? And I'm not talking about number or position. All 22 players can advance a fumble. I don't care who you are, what side of the ball, what your number is. Anybody who's a player. Subs off the bench, coaches, they don't get that privilege. And now what if the ball is fumbled out of bounds? We're in a different league than some others, and certain coaches play by different rules at the NCAA level and at the pro level. Okay? Again, showing my age, they have in the NFL something called the Kenny Stabler rule. Okay? And if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it because this is not the NFL. Our rule says if you fumble a ball and it goes out of bounds, it's wherever it goes out of bounds. You can gain yardage on a fumble or you can lose yardage on a fumble. It doesn't have anything to do with where the ball was at the time you're fumbled. It's where did it cross the line and go out of bounds. Now, when a loose ball goes out of bounds, it is at that spot and it belongs to the team last in possession, and then you take into consideration down and distance. So it was 4th down and they didn't make the line to gain. It still belongs to the offensive team for the moment, but then as soon as you look at the change, you say they didn't make the line to gain, we'll go the other way. Okay? So when a ball is loose and it goes out of bounds, it belongs to the team last in possession at the spot where it went out of bounds. And then after that, you take into consideration the down, the distance, and the line to gain. Okay? So, we do not have the rule here that says if you're going in, and this guy, we're going to call him on the 17-yard line, fumbles on the 17 and it goes out here on the 14, we don't bring it back. He gets it there. So what I want you to be conscious of, if you're covering a play like this, where's this line to gain, and was it really a fumble? The Kenny Stabler rule, and now I will bore you, okay, says that he needed that ball to be a little bit further than where he was about to be tackled. And he went, oh my goodness, I accidentally fumbled it forward to my teammate, and he recovered it, and we made the first down. Touchdown. Okay? So, I want you to be conscious that a fumble is an involuntary act. I didn't mean to do it, Coach. If you think that he tossed it, it could be an illegal forward pass. Illegal forward pass does not require that it be above the shoulder and throw in a spiral. It is voluntary loss of possession of the ball in a forward direction. It can be underhand, it can be windmill, softball style, it can be two-hand chest pass, it can be, I need a couple more yards, I'm going to throw it up there out of bounds so I make the first down. Okay? So if you're the covering official, somewhere in here maybe, okay, or maybe even over here, the back judge looking in from this direction, okay, maybe even the umpire looking here, you want to look at how did that player become separated from the ball. Did he get hit to the point where they knocked it loose? Didn't mean to, coach. I lost it involuntarily. Or was he throwing it? Nobody hit him up here. They hit him on the legs and it was like, whoops. Okay, big difference. Okay, here's our example. It's 4th and 10 at the 30-yard line. It's right here, 4th down. That means if it's 4th and 10, they got to make the 20. The runner sweeps to his left. He gains 9 yards to the 21. And then as he's tackled, he fumbles. The ball rolls out of bounds. Okay? So in this case, based on what this says, he fumbled. So the verb here is fumbled. That means involuntary. He didn't throw it. Okay? The ball went out somewhere in here. We'll call it the 15-yard line. First down. Maintain possession. Now if he just gets tackled here, they only gained 9. They didn't make the first down. We're going the other way. New ball in. Reset the chains. In this case, fumbled, went forward. We get that yardage. Okay? First down for A. They continue the series. Okay? If he fumbles backwards, they get it there. And it's going to be B's ball because they didn't make the line to gain. Now there's one tricky exception to that, and that's when we put this G line in the play. Okay? If a ball is fumbled from the field of play across B's goal line, okay, and it goes out of bounds there, it's a touchback. B gets the ball in the 20. And that seems like a really severe penalty. These guys are about ready to score a touchdown. They got goal to go. And all he did was fumble and it just went out of bounds. Can't we just take it right back here where he fumbled right here and just have it again? No. If you fumble it into the end zone and it goes across the sideline, across the end line, or recovered by B in here, B's ball in the 20, touchback. We're going the other way. Don't miss that. Coaches all know that rule. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about holding. And what are we looking for? Why do we call holding versus we didn't? Now in this case, look at this. Think he's gaining an advantage? Yeah, I think so. Okay, I think so. Okay, feet, beat, and jerk. Feet means you're not in the frame of your body. I didn't turn my feet with the guy. I kept my feet here and I just reached out and grabbed somebody. Beat means that the defender got out of the frame of my body and he's beat me, so to speak, as opposed to me keeping him here and keeping my frame between him and the target. Okay? And then jerk is what you call this guy when he gets back to the bench. No, jerk is when you grab a hold of him and pull. Okay? You grab a hold of him and pull. So I didn't move my feet. I was lazy. I let him get around me. I was beat. And then I grabbed him because I didn't want the coach to yell at me. Well, guess what? You're a jerk. Okay? All right, feet, beat, and jerk. And now we're talking about advantage, disadvantage. And what we mean by this is if they're running off the right tackle and you have a hold over here from the left tackle, okay, unless it's a safety issue or a takedown, you're going to go talk to that kid. 76, you got to have a better block than that. Come on now. If he runs that way, we're going to bring it back. Now, I know this guy's been kicking your butt all day, but knock it off. You can't be doing that. Isn't that the speech you give him, Jerry? Pretty much. Okay? If they're running over here and you have a modest hold over here that's not a safety issue or a takedown, you're going to go talk to that kid. Okay? No value in throwing that flag. We want to get our games done before 10 o'clock if we're kicking off at 7. Okay? Preferably 9:30. Okay? And so if you're throwing that flag, you'll be there till about 10:45. Right, takedown anywhere on the field. If a hold is such that you grab a player who is on his feet and you put him down on the ground so he's no longer on his feet, I don't care where it is, I don't care what the play is, I don't care if it's an advantage, disadvantage, you're throwing somebody to the ground and you're going to call that. We're going to penalize that every day. Okay? Our philosophies for holding. Philosophies for holding. okay, are feet, one more time, feet, beat, and jerk, always call that. There we go. Feet, beat, and jerk, always call that. Advantage, disadvantage, call that. And takedowns. These are the big three for holding. If it's not one of these three, then you should be thinking about, do I really need to call this? Okay? And advantage, disadvantage, I'm going to put safety in there too. If whatever is happening is a safety issue, he's grabbing him in a place where only his wife should be allowed to touch him. Okay? You need to call that. That's a safety issue. Okay? Defensive holding. Well, what do we do for defensive holding? Okay, there are some things that we're going to call defensive wise, but the defense is allowed to grab somebody and throw them out of the way. Okay, they're allowed to do that. Right, this year in football, for the first time, we're developing a list of absolutes. They've had it in basketball. How many people work basketball? Suckers. Okay, I'll digress for a moment. Basketball is the only game that when you make a call, you stop the game. Think about that. You stop the game. In hockey, they have the delayed call, play on, okay? And then if they score a goal, never mind about that penalty. We're going to let that one go. Wave it off, okay? In football, you can throw your flag and say, I think I got something. And then you can go in, and the referee says, you called what? No way. Or you can say, hey, did the ball cross the line? No, ball didn't cross the line. We're waving it off. Play went on anyway, right? In baseball, oh man, in baseball, okay? The guy hits the ball, okay? And you throw it over here, and the umpire stands there and goes, we're going to commercial. Yeah, he's out. And he walks away, okay? They don't stop the game. They keep playing, okay? And it's whenever I get around to making the call. Now in basketball, imagine this. Imagine this. One of our friends, Billy Kennedy, is underneath. Ball clanks off the rim and goes up. Okay, somebody gets the rebound, fast break pass, he's going down there and about to slam it in on the other end. And Billy goes, wait a minute, come back here. I got a foul on the rebound. How long is he going to be in the league? Okay, you make calls right now in basketball and you stop the game. All right, enough basketball. Back to football. Basketball started these things called absolutes. And these are things that I want everybody to pay attention. They are on one of the websites, and they're right here on this PowerPoint, and I can give you a copy of the PowerPoint, and it's on the website, okay? You should know these things, and you should do these things. Every crew member will be on the field at specified times listed in order to professionally deal with pregame duties. This is not, hey, coach, good to see you. Oh, man, look at that cheerleader over there. Man, she is hot, okay? Or you see somebody up in the stands that you went to high school with. Hey, Rick Stillion, how was your birthday party the other day? Hey, good to see you. You're walking around doing that kind of stuff. Come on. You're there to do a job, and you're actually getting paid, okay? So let's do your job, okay, and be on the field at the appropriate time, okay? There's no reason not to do those things. Second is the coin toss will take place 3 minutes prior to the scheduled kickoff. If the game is 7 o'clock, 6:57, okay? Now what I like to do is make sure that my back judge talks to the timer, okay? And you know how they set the clock and they have it running down while they're warming up and the band's going? What time do you want to have 0 on the clock? Toss time. Whatever that number is, toss time. So you sync your watches, okay? Sync your watches. And you have the clock hit 0 at toss time. Otherwise, the band's out there, we still got 3 minutes, and you're going, come on, we got the captains out here, let's go. 3 minutes, still on the clock. 2:45, we'll be there, okay? Have it hit 0. Now, does that mean they're guaranteed going to be off the field? Not necessarily, but it's a head start, and everybody else then is on your side. If you got time on the clock, and it's still running down, and you're saying, hey, band, let's go, let's go, let's go, okay? Everybody in the stands is thinking, who's the bad guy? If it's on 0, everybody in the stands is thinking, that band guy sure is an ego hog, isn't he? He's trying to get the whole night just for his band. All right, 3 minutes. At the snap, initial positioning will fall within the proper guidelines. And what that means is officials positioning, not the 7 guys on the line of scrimmage and stuff like that, the officials. Okay, so wings, you're going to be little outside the sideline or maybe toes on the sideline. You're not going to be at the numbers. Okay, not going to be at the numbers. Following what I'm saying, wings? Back judge, 20 to 25, downfield, in between the hash marks. Referees, you're going to be on the quarterback's arm side, okay? 12 to 15 deep. Now, when you get to be my age, you're leaning towards the 15, okay? Bryce, quit laughing. You're older than me. Okay? There you go. The goal line is sacred. The goal line is the line where we score points. Okay? It's very difficult to convince a coach that it was or wasn't a score if a play happened really close to the goal line or at the pylon and you got nobody there. We have these mechanics called reverse goal line and goal line, and we talked last Tuesday about the scenario where we have this. Your goal line, we're sharing the goal line. Back judge, I got the goal line, my goal line. Wings, you got the goal line. I'm backing off now, okay? If you're inside the 30-yard line, what's the reason that you don't have some communication between the crew every single frigging down? I didn't cuss, okay? What's the reason? It's the most important line on the field. You only got 2 of them, okay? You got one over here and one over there, okay? Have somebody at the goal line. Player safety is foremost. Most of the guys who are in our games are 17 and younger, which means they're children. They're not going to make good decisions, and they're more likely to get hurt, and they all have parents who would love to sue you, okay? So, player safety. If something is funky out there and you've got to make a call, error on the side of safety. If it seems funky, we're not going to do that today. I'm concerned about safety. Okay? And it's things like this. A sprinkler head uncovered in the middle of the field before the game starts. We're going to get this fixed before we start. We're going to have a wrap around the goalpost, that kind of stuff. Those are the kinds of things where you get a hold of the athletic director and say, I'm not comfortable with this, we're not going to kick. We're not going to kick off until this is handled. Okay? I need mats around the post or mats in the broad jump pit or whatever it might be. Those are the kinds of things you hold up the game for. Okay? That's safety. Verbal and visual communications will be given prior to and during each down. Second down. Okay? Inside tape. Counted my 11. Right? Why don't we do something every down? You're not on vacation. The cheerleaders aren't that pretty. You've seen them all before. Individual officials will never sound a whistle without seeing the ball. Wouldn't this be beautiful? Here's the digression. I was in a game once, and it was Marcos Deniza, who had a very good quarterback running team, and they're playing at Westview. Okay? And most of you know who my umpire is. Okay? And he had a particular play where the quarterback goes like this, and he goes like this, and this guy went off tackle, and he's getting mauled by the linebacker in here, and Dana goes, "Toot!" And the guy over here starts getting up, no ball. And there goes the quarterback with the ball. And Jocko's over here, okay, going, oh shit. Okay? And this guy's gone. He had faked out everybody, including Dana, and he's gone. Okay? And we got a whistle. So I'm thinking, holy moly, except I didn't think those exact words, but it was something like that. Okay? And Coach Lopez is over there going, Bob, come here. Come here. We're going to talk. And of course, everybody on this side of the stands, they don't think I'm a very nice guy. And so I go over there and he goes, Bob, he was going to score. And I go, you're right, Coach, he was. Absolutely. My guy screwed that one up. Okay? And he's going, well, what are we going to do? We're going to give him the 6, right? I said, no, he's going to be down right where the whistle sounded. He got a 5-yard gain on the play, or whatever it was. Okay? And he's going, you kidding me? I said, no, it's in the rule book. Whistle sounded wherever the ball was when it sounded. That's it. He's going, holy shit, we are getting screwed. I says, you're right, you are. Sorry, really sorry. Okay? And I go back.
How the rule interpreter asked for a decision?
No. I knew what the decision was. And I now have to go over and talk to the other guy. Because he's calling timeout. He wants to talk to me, and I'm giving him his timeout back, of course. So now I got to go talk to Bowen. And I'm going over there, and Bowen's got this big old smile going, it's okay, whatever you got, fine with me, no problem. So I go, Coach, I'm not charging him timeout. He goes, no problem at all, Bob. Let's get back to playing. And so we're lining up, and this side of the stands is making all kinds of noise. And the official who was working the chains is about to work a scrimmage in Seattle as a replacement NFL official Okay? And we're lining up, we're getting back to calmness now, except these people are still yelling in the stands, and we're getting ready to go, quarterback's underneath, calling signals, and all of a sudden over here from the linesman side, we get a flag going up, almost hitting the light, okay? And I'm thinking, holy moly, what do we got now? And I go over there, and the conversation goes something like this: Bob, you're not going to believe what that coach called me. And I'm thinking, you kidding me? You kidding me? We just cost him a touchdown and you're throwing a flag? And I look over there, because I was fairly far. I didn't want to go all the way over there and have the conversation. I made the official run kind of into me. And I'm looking over there, and Ray is going like this: Bob, what do we got now? And I look up, and I say, okay, I got this one. And I hustle over, and I go, Coach Lopez, here's what I got. I said, I'm going to pick that flag up. You got no foul. He goes, you can do that? Or you're damn straight I can do that, and I am. Here's what we got. My guy made a mistake and called that ball down. Your assistant coach over there made a mistake and said something you shouldn't have said. Now we're going to wipe that off. We're going to get back to playing football. And he goes, we can do that? And I go, absolutely. We're going to do that. And he looks at his assistant coach and goes, you keep your mouth shut the rest of the night. And we went back to playing football. Okay? We went back to playing football. Now, individual officials will never sound a whistle without seeing the ball. We wish that was true, and that's kind of what started this whole thing. And I'm not trying to say that you should make up your own rules and change penalty calls during a game, but things happen in a game. And sometimes you're trying to get order restored and you're trying to be fair. And I didn't think it was really fair to hit them for 15 at that moment. Honest. That's how I felt. Do we need to stop? You okay?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, we're hurrying for the 2 minutes. We do not echo whistles on touchdowns. We do echo timeout signals. So if you got a timeout, I want you to be thinking this. If you got a timeout over here, think of the clock operator watching over there, not necessarily watching you. So we echo timeout to make sure the clock gets stopped. And if you got nothing else to do and you're signaling timeout and your area is clear, you look up at the clock and make sure they got it. Right? Timeouts between intervals will be conducted with professionalism and according to proper mechanics. That means no scratching when you're on camera, okay? And no telling jokes, okay? Unless you can hold a straight face during the joke. And you remember that often you have a microphone on, whether it's a PA or a radio or a TV, okay? And you always have someone watching you whether you realize it or not. Even at a freshman and JV game when there's 50 people in the stands, one of those 50 is watching you. And if you are out there yucking it up and acting like you don't really care, 2 plays later, something's going to happen. They're going to say, yeah, look at that guy. Just goofing off again. Just goofing off again.
We discussed this in baseball last spring. And today's technology, you are always being videotaped.
Somebody's watching you, and you're on cell phone camera or something. I agree.
You have to be very articulate.
Movement of chains and the box between periods will be handled as outlined. That means somebody goes over and marks it, and they record it, and you check with the linesman before they go. Here's the exception, okay? If you're ending on a touchback, okay, you can say set up on us. Then you can go down to the 20. You don't have to carry the clip if you're on a touchback. In fact, when we have a touchback, we don't even use a clip. If you made the 30-yard line, you got a first down. If you didn't, you didn't. We're not going to measure after touchback, right? All right. Penalty information, communication, enforcement, handle as outlined. And that means the umpire steps off the penalty on simple, here's the thing, simple 5-yard dead ball fouls, 1 signal, let's go. Dead ball, delay game, offense, 2nd down. Let's go. Not a preliminary, and then enforcement, and then a final. Okay? And we're going to take a break, right? Oh, we got 3 minutes. Okay. Remove whistle from mouth after snap. This is not basketball. In basketball, you keep it in because you stop play when you make a call. Here we don't. And so you can simply open your mouth at the snap and it will fall out. Don't spit it out because sometimes it'll make a little peep. Open your mouth and it'll fall out. I think they left out a word in this one. And right there. Great. Right there. Should be great. Anybody can be a dead ball official. You can be a bad one. You can be a horrible one. You need to be a great dead ball official. Most of the really bad stuff happens between the plays. Okay? And most of the things that incite the next penalty happen between plays. People understand if somebody comes in and cleans your clock during a play, that it's a hard hit and you hear that, whoa, okay? But that's football. What people don't like is when you have some cheap stuff happening after the play. A guy standing next to the pile and he gets taken out, okay? That's the stuff where right here, you absolutely have to be a great dead ball official. And then finally, always be a professional. Remember that we live in a world of technology, and there are cameras, microphones, somewhere in the vicinity, and you'll be recorded. We're going to take a 5-minute break and go to the video. Oh, and tonight we have a special guest video man, Widman. Howdy, howdy. Good to see you. It's always a pleasure.